demonstrated, but things cannot be otherwise. For since everything was made for a purpose, everything is necessarily for the best purpose. Note that our noses were made to wear spectacles. We therefore have spectacles. Legs were clearly devised to wear breeches, and we have breeches. Stones were created to be hewn and made into castles. His lordship therefore has a very beautiful castle. The greatest bear in the province must have the finest residence. And since pigs are made to be eaten, we eat pork all year round. Therefore, those who have maintained that all is well have been talking nonsense. They should have maintained that all is for the best.
He meddles so much in the affairs of this world that he may as well be inside of me and everywhere else too. But I confess that when I consider this globe, I think that God has abandoned it to some malevolent being, with the exception of El Dorado. I've almost never seen a town that didn't desire the ruin of some neighboring town, or a family that didn't want to exterminate some other family. Everywhere in the world, the weak detest the strong and grovel before them, and the strong treat them like flocks of sheep to be sold for their meat and wool. 1,000,000 regimented assassins sweep over Europe from one end to the other, murdering and robbing with discipline to earn their bread, because there's no more honorable occupation. And in towns that seem to enjoy peace, and where the arts flourish, the envies, cares, and anxieties that assail the people are more numerous than the afflictions of a besieged town. Secret torments are even more agonizing than public miseries. In short, I've seen and experienced so much that I remain changed. My name is Ahmed III. I was a great sultan for many years. I dethroned my brother, and my nephew dethroned me. My viziers were beheaded. I'm now finishing out my life in the old Serradillo. My nephew, Sultan Mohammed, sometimes allows me to travel for my health, and I've come to Venice for the carnival. We are the kings, and we have all been dethroned. If you had been there, if you had seen it, I bet that you would believe us. My name is Ivan. I was once emperor of all the Russias, but I was dethroned while I was still in the cradle. My parents were placed in confinement, and I was brought up in prison. I'm sometimes given permission to travel, accompanied by my guards, and I've come to Venice for the carnival. We are the kings, and we have all been dethroned. If you had been there, if you had seen it, I bet that you would believe us. I'm Charles Edward, King of England. My father ceded me his rights to the throne, and I fought to maintain them. The hearts of 800 of my followers were torn out and thrown in their faces. I was put in prison. I'm on my way to visit my father, a dethroned king like my grandfather and myself, and I've come to Venice for the carnival. We are the kings, and we have all been dethroned. If you had been there, if you had seen it, I bet that you would believe us. I'm the King of Poland. The fortunes of war deprived me of my hereditary dominions, and my father suffered the same fate. I've placed myself in the hands of Providence, like Sultan Ahmed, Emperor Ivan, and King Charles Edward, to whom God grant long life, and I've come to Venice for the carnival. We are the kings, and we have all been dethroned. If you had been there, if you had seen it, I bet that you would believe us. I'm also the King of Poland. I lost my kingdom twice, but Providence gave me another realm, in which I've done more good than all the kings of the Samaritans put together were ever able to do on the banks of the Vistula. I've also placed myself in the hands of Providence, and I've come to Venice for the carnival. We are the kings, and we have all been dethroned. If you had been there, if you had seen it, I bet that you would believe us. Gentlemen, my lineage isn't as illustrious as yours, but I was once a king like any other. I'm Theodore. I was elected king of Corsica. I was called your majesty. Now I'm scarcely called sir. I had money minted, and now I'm penniless. I had 2 secretaries of state, and now I have only 1 valet. I once sat on a throne, and for a long time I lay on a bed of straw in a London prison. I'm afraid I may be given the same treatment here, even though I've come to Venice, like your majesties, for the carnival. We are the kings, and we have all been dethroned. If you had been there, If you had seen it, I bet that you would believe us. We are the kings, we are the kings, and we have all been dethroned. If you had been there, if you had seen it, I bet that you would believe us. He proved in a few words that it is not enough to bring in one or two of those situations which are found in novels and which always captivate an audience, but that a dramatist must be original without being eccentric, that he must often be sublime and always natural, that he must know the human heart and make it speak, be a great poet without letting any of his characters sound like a poet, have a perfect command of his language, and write with purity and continuous harmony without ever sacrificing meaning to rhyme. I was soon supplanted by a rival, driven away without any compensation and forced to continue that abominable trade which seems so pleasant to you men, but which is nothing but an abyss of misery for us. I came to Venice to practice my profession. Oh, sir, if you could only imagine what it's like to be forced to caress without discrimination an old merchant, a lawyer, a monk, a gondolier, or a priest, to be exposed to every kind of insult and abuse, to be often reduced to borrowing a skirt for some disgusting man to lift up, to be robbed by one man of what you've earned with another, to be blackmailed by magistrates, to have nothing to look forward to except atrocious old age, the workhouse and the garbage dump. You would conclude I'm one of the most wretched creatures in the world.